What's up, everybody? We are back out at stage one. We are now going to watch our women's elite take this one on. The sun is shining. It's gotten quite a bit warmer than when we were here bundled up earlier, so I'm hopeful that maybe the turf has dried up for these ladies. We will see how those sled push go, and they will get started momentarily.
Do I have a lane 5?
I don't think we had any lane 5.
All right.
Oh, Cal's got her tripod set up and her camera, so we'll try to stay out of the way there. Ro, how we feeling?
Oh, great. Fantastic.
Oh my gosh, guys, take a screenshot.
My thumb hurts.
Ro is smiling on camera. What happened to your thumb?
I was doing some stuff and it almost fell off.
Oh no.
It's okay though. I got a Band-Aid.
Media is injured, but not the athletes, thank goodness.
Just so it's clear, I'm about to take a shot right here.
He's okay.
Don't be in my way.
I always walk in front of Ro.
Right in front of Ro.
Where are those pictures of like half of my body in the athlete photo?
Like 90% of the photos of your back.
My back makes many shots. And Donnie, she's the one that does all the great photo packages, makes you guys all look great. Okay.
You love that selfie mode.
Nickus, I do. I love that I can flip it back and forth.
I hate it because I accidentally do it all the time.
And then it just gets on your face. But you're already on the internet. Ro doesn't like it, but that's too bad. Okay, let's talk about the athletes in each lane before they get started. Amelia Faircloth in lane number 1, Kalarina Woodard in lane 2. In our center lane, Katie Batiste. Lane number 4, Megan Kennedy, and Olivia Scott in our last lane. They will have 15 minutes to complete 5 rounds of this sequence. When we get the 3, 2, 1 go, they will start with 2 rope climbs. So earlier this season, or last season, because we're in 2025 now, we saw Megan Kennedy compete in women's tactical. She's now back with her elite competitors this weekend, her first regional event of the season. This will be Kalarina Key's second regional event of the season. She was with us for our first one in Arizona a couple weeks ago. She has already punched her ticket to nationals. So this will just be an opportunity for her to get more data, dial in her training. She said that she was going to commit to several regional events this season. And this wasn't too far of a drive for her and her husband, Jimmy, who is in our men's elite division competing. So right now we're waiting just a couple more minutes as our volunteers staple the papers to our targets out for the rifles, which are going to be 320 yards out. And here we go. And they are off. 2 rope climbs to start every round. 5 total rounds here, 15-minute time cap. We did see several athletes in the men's elite division get time capped. But speaking of that, if you are new to tactical games, wondering how this works, it's not always the athlete that finishes quickest that's going to win, because they have to take the shooting into account. So Kurt Fennell, who almost finished, he had several other athletes finish ahead of him, but his shooting was better, so he actually took first for the men's elite division. On your screen, Kalarina Key The weight that they are pushing, 250 pounds. So it's 80 pounds of weight on there, but that sled weighs 170 pounds. You can see she's taking a different strategy than we saw with the men's elite. By getting her head through it, she can get lower as she pushes that sled. Athletes will start in the prone position with 6 shots in their rifle, about 320 yards. The target out there is just one sheet of paper. They don't have any shapes that they need to get into. The shots just need to hit the paper. Kal's clear on her rifle. Now she will move to her pistol, which will be freestanding, and that is about 18 yards out. There are 2 triangles on the target. They don't have a specific order that they need to hit each of the targets. The only rule with the targets here is they can't get more than 20 hits on each triangle. So if they do, that just won't count. And Kal, your first athlete done. To finish out round number 1, they will now have to push the sled back along the turf. So kind of what we're seeing now is the way back is much more challenging just because of the way you have to grip the sled. You have to get much lower, putting your body in a more horizontal plane. So Katie finishing up, Meg Kennedy finishing up, and Kal. All 3 of these women will now move on to round number 2. So even though they're wearing their belts and the plate carriers, they have all of their magazines at the start-finish line. So they can choose to either do their rope climbs first or grab their magazines first or alternate between the 2. It's completely up to the athlete. So Kal decided to do 1 rope climb, grab her magazine, and now she will go into her second rope climb, giving her just a moment to breathe without wasting any time. We call that a calculated transition. Yeah, and she'll go right back into that position where she can put her head through. So typically when you see the sleds that just have the poles and don't have them connected, athletes will get super low and wrap their arms around it. I would say the way that Kal's doing it is the most similar to that. And Meg Kennedy also doing it that way. And then a different technique all the way at the end, just standing full tall as Olivia pushes her sled. All 3 of these ladies moving to the firing line for their second iteration. So Kal and Meg finishing up their rifle at about the same time. Both will move to their 8 shots with their pistol. And both will finish the pistol at about the same time. Now back onto the sled push. Incredible power there to just dig your heels in and keep going. Both unbroken from Meg and Cal as they had a very similar strategy. Not a ton of variation that you can do in that position because you're forced to be that low with the only place to put your hands on the low bar. Meg to your left, Cal to your right, both starting their third of 5 rounds, 15-minute time cap. For the women's elite, this is the only squad that they have competing this weekend, so it's just them against them. They don't need to worry about any times to beat, any scores to beat. They are just competing against each other. Katie also staying in the mix here, starting her third round. Meg gonna grab her magazines and finish up. Cal is already about halfway into her third sled push. And they are halfway until that time cap. When we spoke to some of the athletes from the men's elite division, not a ton of athletes have experience on turf. And if you haven't been on turf before, the shoe choice could make or break how you finish out this one. It seems like the turf has dried since we had the morning dew on it, but you really want shoes with some traction, but then in the same breath, you're doing rope climbs. So a lot of athletes choose to wear ones with less traction for that, but Meg's shoes have a nice grip on them. Really good for any movements on turf, where then we'll come over to Cal's. Hers have a little bit of traction, but I would say are much more smooth. So we'll see in these last couple of sled push if that impacts either of them.
So that's what we're going to keep.
And here's where it starts to really get tough. That accumulated fatigue, lots of glutes and hamstrings going into it. The good thing about the sled push, the only movement that you really need those muscles are for the sled push. You're using mostly upper body for the rope climbs, and then heart rate and grip fatigue once you get to that firing line. Cal with just 2 rounds left, less than halfway to go before that time cap. Just 5 minutes left, so they're at the 10-minute mark. Even with the fatigue, so efficient on her rope climbs, the way that she gets those knees up nice and high, almost like a toes to bar. She's really thinking of pulling them in so that she can use more leg drive and less of her pulling muscles. And these rope climbs for both the men's and women's elite are going to be all the way to that 15 feet touch. Cal taking time to use her transition from the rope climb to the sled as an opportunity to get her heart rate down so that by the time she gets to the firing line, she doesn't need to waste a lot of time there and can just go into each sequence. And the sled push on the way down for Cal have looked almost identical for all 4 rounds so far. And at this point, Cal has extended her lead ahead of Meg Kennedy. Meg is now moving to her next sled push. Dang, look at that power. She, just little tiny baby steps are working really well for her because she can explode right at the top, get the speed to get the thing going. Did not make it look like 250 pounds, that's for sure. So when we talked about the choice of shoes and the traction or not traction, you can see how her feet are slipping just a hair every time she goes to drive her feet into the turf and push. Still able to muscle through it. But if she were to have shoes on similar to Meg or just any type of shoes with a little bit more grip, her feet wouldn't be sliding into every push as she moved that sled to the finish. Still able to hold a pretty good lead. They have 1 minute left. So now it's a matter of how far can she get through to earn herself as many points as possible before that time cap.
How much left?
Less than a minute.
Come on, Cal. Let's go. Keep moving.
40 seconds.
30 seconds left. She's got 1 rope climb left. Meg Kennedy is also making her way back to the rig, but I don't know that she will have enough time to get up the rope.
Let's go, Megan.
In 5 seconds. And that will close it in for the women's elite out here in the Holt, Florida sun, baking on these ladies. Their second stage of the day.
Hi.
Hi, Cal.
Hello, do you want me to hold that?
No, you've had to hold a lot of things in that between the sled as you were pushing it, obviously your guns as you were on the firing line. How did that sled push feel on the turf?
On the way down, not bad. On the way back, because you had to use your hands, that was bad. So I was trying to rest my hands and just push with my palms as much as possible because I knew I was coming back to the rope. But on the way down, I could just get it on my back, like a low bar squat and push.
So you were able to use kind of your upper traps to dig into it.
Yes.
When you have a movement like that, in comparison with the other things that you're doing out here, what are you thinking in order to keep that heart rate down to, like you said, save your grip for other parts of the stage?
Yeah, so the way I looked at it, I tried to break up my rope climbs because I knew I could get to a point of failure there and have 4 pulls, which would gas me way more. So I actually looked at the sled as like, just get through the rope climbs. That's kind of a rest because you can put your body weight into it. Yeah, it's a lot of muscle, it's very anaerobic, but then after that I'm just laying down to shoot. So I just looked at it like that.
You've already earned your ticket to nationals. What's the goal this weekend for you?
Shoot better. I mean, it's always to get better. I would love to shoot better, get more confident with my rifle. I got a new rifle right now, so I just love competing. So being out here and do my absolute best. Go home proud. Yeah.
I love it. Great to see you out here, Cal.
Thanks.
Nice work. Miss Meg Kennedy.
What's up?
Back out here with the elite ladies. How's it feel?
So far, so good. It's early on.
What did you think of this one? I noticed when you were laying down to shoot rifle, you got some good shoes on for turf. Were you thinking about that before this?
100%, and the rope. Because it sinks coming down a little bit on the rope, but it's a lot grippier going up. So I do it on purpose.
Have you practiced pushing sleds on turf before?
No. No, I have not.
Not until today.
Not until today.
Okay, how did it feel in comparison to, you know, sometimes we're out here in the elements and you have to push the sled in the dirt, in the sand, in the rocks.
I still think it's easier than that. Because there's times where those divots with the rocks and the holes and everything, like you'll get dead stopped. Whereas there were bolts down there, so that kind of stunk, but for the most part, it was okay. At least with these shoes. I don't know how it would have been the slippier ones.
Overall, how do you think your shooting went?
I hope okay. I know pistol was good. I think I only dropped 2, and that was just silly, a little too quick. But I have no idea on the rifle. Time will tell.
It's a mystery until we get those papers back.
It is,
Meg,
especially at those distances.
good to see you out here.
Thanks, good to see you.
And that will close it in for our women's elite division. We will be featuring some of our masters divisions later this afternoon. We also have our video up of the men's stage 1 elite on YouTube. So make sure you go check that out. Like, subscribe, share this to a friend, help the channel grow, help the sport grow, and we'll see you for the next one.